Welcome back to the Print on Demand cast. This week we talk about 9 mistakes that you might be making in print on demand. Let's get into it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Print on Demand cast. Thank you so much for joining us once again during the craziness and the busyness of your holiday season. And I know that it's a crazy holiday season because if you're listening to this, most likely you're in print on demand, you're doing drop shipping, you're doing some form of order fulfillment, and it's the most wonderful and chaotic time of the year. So thank you for taking time with us to hang out and hear about 9 mistakes you might be making on print on demand. But before we get to that, listen, wherever you're listening to this on, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and review the show. It'd be greatly appreciative of that as well. And joining me for this show and every show, Travis Ross from Make Your Mark Design. Travis, you got a new camera. I can tell. You look high def. You look very high def.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel pretty. Oh, so pretty. Just got a new one. It's a Logitech, and I didn't realize how grainy my video camera was until we started doing all these reels, and you're like zooming in my face, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
I
mean, I
already got wrinkles. You don't need to like add to the bad video. I don't know. There, that one. What it felt like.
Yeah. No, it's good to see you in high definition, and good to be with you, man. How's your week been so far? As we record, it is a Tuesday. So how you doing? How's Q4 treating you?
Yeah. It's holiday season. So last week was probably the biggest or the busiest week and the biggest sales week. It kind of has tailed off a little bit. Families arriving. My daughter came home Sunday. My mother just got here yesterday. We did the annual Ross Family Cookie Olympics last night. And there were some actually, Jessa, my youngest, she killed it. She used to be like, she was young. And so she would always like kind of not do a really great job, but she's grown up a little bit. She's about to turn 14, and she did some really nice cookies. Maybe we should, throw some of those out there on IG or in the Facebook group or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, somebody want to make a T-shirt out of one of my daughter's cookies? I mean, I don't know.
You could just accept all cookies and then make the a T-shirt design. That's awesome, man. So she ended up winning. How did you fare in this Olympics?
I am the judge, baby. I do not participate.
So that's what I would do.
Yep, that's
I hate the whole process of decorating anything.
Don't tell my wife or my family. But I agree.
Yeah, my wife gets so infinitely frustrated because for years we do gingerbread houses with her family, and I would just give up, and I would make something that was comical or something that was like a little obtuse or off color. And I'm like, listen, I suck at this. It takes way too much. And then last year, Jason and I just ended up like watching a movie while they did it because we both were like, listen, it's not fun for me. This is frustrating that it's an artistic thing that I'm not great at and I don't enjoy. It'd be like drawing. I suck at that too. So it's just not fun. So I agree with you. I would be the judge all the way.
Tis the season, to exercise your dad rights and say, no, I will not be decorating, but I will judge you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is the perks of being the dad. So glad you got to do that, and glad that Q4 is going well for you, and you are surviving, thriving, everything in between, and judging cookies and those who make them that happen to be related to you. So that's awesome. Man, let's get right into this week. This week we do have, for you listening, here's a little bit of a rundown. We do have a dad joke. We do have a point of interest, and we do, of course, have a main event. And so lots to get to, and we're actually going to go and throw to the actual segment of dad jokes now. Travis and I have discovered that we were trying to weave them into conversation conspicuously and surprise people out of nowhere. But then what ended up happening is we would sometimes just forget because we'd be in conversation and then we would wrap the show and the outro is done, and we're like, hey man, great show, blah, blah, blah. oh crap, we forgot the dad joke. What do we do? So we decided that we're just going to make it a segment again for you guys to know. You guys know what's coming anyway. It's not like it's a surprise to you that we are going to throw to it, and we'll get more use out of the ridiculous bumper that we created for the dad joke. So with that being said, let's just right off the top, 'tis the season. Let's just go right to this week's weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
Travis, you brought the dad joke this week, so let's hear it. Let's hear the weekly dad joke.
All right. Well, what did Santa give to the naughty soccer player?
I have no idea.
Coal.
I love it. That actually, it did when you full transparency, listening audience, when Travis told me that joke off air, I genuinely laughed. So that's how we know it was a keeper. Yeah, that's awesome. So you said, that it is seasonally appropriate, I think, and you're a football fan, like not football. You're both football types of fans, but you are actually a soccer fan, I guess, if we're going to use American terms. So
yes, I like all the sports that are played with feet.
Yes. Technically. All right. Well, we're just going to go straight into this week's point of interest. Got a really, it's actually kind of cool, and it just proves further what a wild time we're living in. So we're going to go to this week's point of interest.
Well, howdy, partner. Welcome to the point of interest part of the POD cast. So grab your hat and hold on tight, because we got some learning to do.
Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Yes, some learning to do indeed. And this week, our point of interest is AI based. Shocker. I know we never talk about AI on the show, but here we are. Meta, the same company that owns Facebook and Instagram, they have come out with their own AI image generator. So this is what it looks like. You can sign up. It is free. Imagine.meta.com is where you can go to get an account. You can use Facebook, or you can sign up with an email, whatever you would like to do. A little bit about Meta. It was trained on 1 billion Facebook and Instagram images. So there's a likelihood that perhaps you contributed to the Meta AI generator. It's developed using something called EMU. It's the AI model on which was built off of or based on. And right now, and this kind of talks about, I guess, some of the legality portion of it, Travis, we've talked about with AI, like copyright. Right? Like how is it actually going to work? Can I actually download this? Or can I actually use it on my t-shirts? Can I use it for design? We've talked about how Photoshop is kind of fully backing their generative fill creations for any kind of IP or copyright infringement claims. No such thing has been released by Meta in terms of what they're willing to back or not in this particular iteration of their AI generator. However, there is an invisible watermark that is coming to the program, which means obviously we won't be able to see it, but Meta themselves will be able to, for better transparency and traceability. So I don't know what that means in terms of using it for your t-shirts or your store, but I don't know that I would necessarily risk it at this particular stage of the game, because there's not a whole lot of clarification here.
Well, right now, I mean, and you're going to show it here in a second, but all of the outputs have a not clear watermark on them.
Yeah,
currently.
Well, you can see them.
Yeah, you can see it. So, I mean, obviously, unless you take it into an editing software and mess with it, it's not ready for that anyway. But I think the idea would be get rid of that one that you can see, so people can have the whole image, but then have this invisible thing, so you have that traceability aspect to it. Which, yeah, I mean, I like it from the I guess from the like security standpoint. At the same time, it's a little Big Brotherish. You know what I mean? Once again, Meta is like going, hey, you know what? All those images that you like and and you make with our thing, we're going to have a record of them. And
we know everything.
We know everything. Yeah. So
we've tracked every request you've made. So if it's offensive, we're going to find you, even though you didn't actually create it or whatever. Yeah.
We're gonna proactively cancel you. No, I just think that it goes both ways, I guess. But I think that's kind of the world we're in right now. Unfortunately, for better or for worse, there are a lot of people that are trying to promote safety and all of that. And then at the same time, there's also people that are using that as an excuse to kind of keep tabs on us and who knows for what nefarious purposes. But anyway, the tool's really cool.
It is. Yeah. Let's show you guys what we're talking about here. We'll get into it. So this is what you see, describe an image for Meta AI to generate. So one of the things I used earlier was Ipanema Beach, which is a beach in Brazil that I went to, sunset, and car. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So at the bottom here, it does say that images are generated by AI may be inaccurate or inappropriate. So, I don't know what the inappropriate, because it does filter. I've tried, like, it doesn't do famous people, it doesn't do historical figures, doesn't do anything like that. So there is limits there. So here you go. Here is,
that's a cool car.
Cool car. That looks legitimately like Ipanema Beach. In the background there, you can see Pão de Açúcar, which is Sugarloaf. It's a big mountain that you can go to the top of. So yeah, this is wildly accurate. How that car got there, we'll never know, and probably shouldn't be there. But that's what it is.
And you can see that watermark in the corner there.
Yeah, right here is that watermark that Travis was alluding to. Another thing, it doesn't do historical figures, but it does do Mickey Mouse, cigar, poker. You can use famous characters. I've used Elmo in the past. So there you go. There's Mickey Mouse hanging out at a poker table with a cigar that's lit on both ends, which proves to you how much
lit on both. Yeah.
Mickey doesn't use cigars often, folks. He's about to burn his face off. Oh my God. There he is. He bet 4 cigars, and he's having a adult beverage, again, lit on the wrong side, or both. There's smoke coming out from that.
Burning his hand. That's his glove burning, actually, not the cigar.
Exactly. And if you like any of these, you can actually right click and do download image there, and it will download to your computer. And then we did like let's see, stadium, fog, rock. If I can type rock concert, audience. See what that brings up to us here. And it is pretty awesome to see. I mean, that looks legit.
Yeah.
Like that could be a cool background for a promotional thing. You know what I mean? Like that's really cool to see. Yeah. It's as if people go to concerts and Facebook post about them and Instagram post about them, and it's trained the algorithm. So yeah, there you go. There's that. Yeah. And then one letter can change everything. If you do stadium frog rock concert audience, you're going to get an entirely different experience, which is kind of fun. Let's see. Yep. That's a frog on a hat. That is that's
so great
on a man's hat. And yeah, you can see here, it's like that frog took a selfie. That frog is the headliner of that show. It's clear that they're all there to see him. And it's like Kermit's cousin attending a concert.
Yeah, and the last time we did this, so we, obviously full transparency, we did this before, and we thought it was hilarious that you just added an R, and all of a sudden you had this frog picture. But Kermit the Frog actually showed up in the last one that we did. So to your point about being able to, there you go. Let's put Kermit the Frog in that stadium.
There he is.
There he is. Oh,
he is the star of he's attending. Here he is attending again. Box office.
First one kind of reminds me of it's like if he was the lead singer of U2.
Yeah, he's there. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? That's what he's singing. That's what they're there to hear. The Rainbow Connection.
100%.
Yeah. So check it out. Again, imagine.meta.com. It's free. Sign up, give it a whirl, see what you can make with it. Again, legality wise, copyright wise, we can't necessarily sign off and say, yeah, download everything, get rid of the other watermark and put on a t-shirt or a printable poster or something. We can't co-sign that idea, but go play with it, go see, because it's just, again, AI is incredible, and the things you can use and the things you can create. I mean, in the Instagram stories, there is an AI prompt in Instagram stories now that can be used that is powered also by Imagine. So you can add to your existing photos for your Facebook or Instagram stories, so give it a shot, play with it, see what happens.
I think if you're on mobile, it also will work in your Messenger app. If you're in like a group text or a group chat or group messenger, you can just type literally, I think it's /imagine and then space and then your prompt, and then you can get it to actually put one of those pictures in your messenger. So yeah, it's a very cool, very new AI image generator that we wanted to tell you guys about.
Yeah, so go and check it out. Again, Travis, you are correct. You can actually do, /imagine, and it will pop up a prompt for you. I literally just tried it, so you can see.
Did you send me one? Did you send me one?
No, I didn't.
Did you send one to my?
I didn't.
Dare you?
But
oh no, that wasn't you.
See this. No, this is our poker group chat that Travis and I are both in. So yeah, if you tap /imagine, it does describe, and you can use that same generator to describe an image. So who knows what nonsense we could come up with in that particular group chat. But it's a lot of fun. Go check it out and let us know. You can post some of your results in the Facebook group if you want. Tag us in it. Obviously, I don't think it's Meta. I don't think Meta's going to be mad that you used their image generator to post something on Facebook. So give it a shot. So with that, Travis, let's go into the main event. We're talking about, again, for those that might be just tuning in or fast forwarded through the intro because you didn't care about the waffling, we're talking about 9 mistakes you might be making in print on demand. And so let's go to this week's main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event.
All right. 9 mistakes that you might be making in print on demand. Travis, why don't we just get right into it? Kick us off. What would be the number one mistake that you think people might be making when it comes to their print on demand business?
In my opinion, I think the number one mistake that you might be making, and a lot of people are, is just low quality designs. And I don't necessarily just mean, like pixelated images or you didn't make it like big enough so it looks bad. Yeah, like low res, any of that stuff. Which, while that is very important, you want to make sure you're designing at 300 DPI and it's large enough to put on whatever substrate you're putting it on. But beyond that, I think we talked a little bit about it. We've been talking a little bit about it over the past few weeks, but just bad design is prevalent all over. Amazon, Etsy. You can just type something, and luckily those are usually on the pages that are like 9, 10, 20, 50 because no one's buying them because they're just not good. It's a very amateurish. It's funny because some people will go like, well, then why does this coffee mug or t-shirt with only text sell. That's not a very good design, but I tend to disagree, because I think sometimes less is more. Sometimes simplicity sells. And, there's a heck of a lot of fonts out there that you can use to make your particular text-based product stand out a little bit. I don't think that that's always going to be the case. And, please God, don't use Arial or Papyrus. Is that what it's called?
Comic Sans.
Or Comic Sans, there's a couple of ones that I would probably shy away from.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really great fonts out there that are trendy, and so maybe they won't be as popular down the road as perhaps an image with some type of graphic element to it. But right now, I've got several of those that are selling over the Q4. I have a whole bunch of different ones that I did with a lot of different professions. And they've really done well over this Q4. So, but the point is, these low quality designs is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see when people are saying, "Hey, why am I not getting any sales?"
Right.
Well, the hard truth is your designs aren't very good, you know?
No, I mean, we talked about this last week too with Jay.
Yeah.
And people just need to have someone be brutally honest with them. And, I have a friend, he'll probably never listen to this podcast. But I'm still not going to name his name. He and his wife have an Etsy store. And he reached out to me offline and asked, like, "Hey, like, would you be willing to like do some social media work for us? And we're trying to get a lot of eyes to the product and all this kind of stuff." And the reality is what they're selling is not good. It's not scalable. Their designs are terrible. What they're trying to do with it is not going to work. And so I was like, let's get some time. I'll sit with you and we can kind of talk through some stuff. And I'm going to have to be like, look, dude, the reason is that you could throw ad dollars until you're blue in the face at this thing, but the product itself isn't appealing. Like, you need to rethink your product offering, your designs, what you're trying to do. And so there needs to be some of that really harsh, like detached, unbiased third person opinion that you seek out. And like, the thing about asking for coaching, the thing about asking for advice, the thing about asking for insight is that if you're going to ask for those things, you have to be willing to take the harsh critiques and the good critiques and the good feedback. You have to take both. Don't go ask for someone to coach you and then get upset when they're brutally honest with you. Like that doesn't work. You're wasting your money, because if you're not going to act on it and take actual advice, then your stuff's never going to improve. So you have to seek that kind of thing out. So number 2, I would say, and I know this from firsthand experience, it led to a very hard season, a couple horrific months that it led to, because we did not adhere, or we made this second mistake, is ignoring copyright laws. Don't do that.
Emotional damage.
So okay, listen. There's a propensity to think that just because other people you see on a platform are posting friends merch with blatantly ripping off the font, the character names, the images, the likeness, the quotes, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's so much gray area in some of this stuff when it comes to copyright with like well-known entities, but it's not worth wading into that murky water because there's alligators in there, friends, and you will come out with missing limbs. Okay. Appendages will be ingested by the crocodiles that are in those murky waters. But the propensity is to think that it's okay to do that because, well, other people are getting away with it. Other people are posting Disney. Other people are posting, Yellowstone t-shirts. Other people are posting all this stuff. So I should be able to as well. And what you're doing is you're basically setting a timer on your own self-destruct, vest, but you're this bomb vest that you've basically put on and set the timer, and you're literally just waiting, because inevitably there's going to be lawyers, there's going to be people that represent these other entities that are going to do wide swaths of eliminating people who are selling that copyrighted material illegally. And you will have sold a bunch, and that will be nice, but you can't sell anything if you don't have a store. And if you don't have a store that's then banned because of what you decided to do, then you don't have any income for a much longer period of time than what you made income off of that design. That's what happened with Madeline, my wife. For those listening, episode 68, she actually came on the show, which in and of itself was
a miracle,
miraculous, because she doesn't enjoy public speaking. But I think because she knows Travis, and obviously with me being on this, she was a little more comfortable. But we talked about and asked her these questions because she did violate a lot of what I just talked about, and sold a lot in a Q4 off of some designs that were friends. That's the show. Yeah. It was a lot of holiday designs centered around that. But the fallout from doing that was not worth that momentary success, that wave we rode that ended up turning into a tsunami and killing everything in its path. It was really difficult to come back from that. And so we're not even talking about and going into the point of like, be original anyway. Like, this doesn't even have to do with well-known entities. This is if you rip off the competitor's t-shirt that's on page 1 and you do an exact carbon copy of that t-shirt design, you are still in just as much jeopardy of the platform. They don't care if it's Disney or if it's Donna's Summer Wear 72 Etsy store that files this complaint. If you get enough of them, you're done. You're done.
Yeah. And then at the end of the day, other people were doing it is not going to get you off.
It's a terrible excuse.
That's not an excuse that you can use.
I don't think the judge will see it the same way. In a court of law, the judge isn't going to care if everyone else was going around smashing windows.
Well, I mean, it's probably never going to get that far, but definitely Etsy or Amazon doesn't care. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, I guess that's my court of law is an analogy. Like, if you were to break the law for vandalism and then stand in front of a judge and say, well, everyone else is doing it. It's like,
right.
Well, it's wrong. So why did you do it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And that is a hard lesson. I've had a few things taken down from Amazon most of the time. And I will say most of the time, because I, like you, I pushed the boundaries a little bit in my earlier print on demand days. But most of the time recently, it's been, I had the word, hallmark in my keywords, which meant, because it was like a graduation moment or something, or a product. And so I was like, this hallmark moment or something like that. And so I got, a copyright violation for using the word hallmark. And that was
keywords, not in the design. Yeah. Was it? It was in the keyword, not in the design.
Keywords in Amazon. Okay. Exactly. So don't think that, I didn't put it in the title or the description so I can sneak it into the back end. That's a recipe for disaster as well. They do, then they can, and they will see that and potentially put you out of business and lock you out of your store and keep your money.
Exactly. And trust me, again, from personal experience, the appeal process isn't a guaranteed thing either. I mean, we consulted lawyers and tried to get things reinstated, and we're basically like, we promise we'll never do it again and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter at that point. They just don't care. Again, episode 68 in the archives, pushing through Etsy setbacks with Madeline Cifuentes, who again is my beautiful wife. Go listen to that, because there's lots of insight. Not only is there insight about like what not to do to get there, but also we ended up rebuilding. We got a different store. We opened another store. We rebuilt everything. We did everything much better the second time, from organization to execution of designs, much better. So go check that out. Good episode, a little biased. I think the guest was hot, but that's my opinion. So number 3, Travis, in the list, we've got not proofing samples. Why is that a mistake? And how does one kind of fall into that trap?
I think a lot of times, we're so eager to get started that we will potentially take some shortcuts. And one of those shortcuts is not proofing your sample, is not getting samples to you to see what kind of product you're actually sending your customers. Because this can be such a hands-off business, it's very easy to cut corners like that. And it can be, a lot of weeks and months go by and you're sending, maybe just poorly printed t-shirts or crooked stuff, and it's just not great.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to build any type of a brand, that's not going to serve you well. I was speaking to someone today about Etsy and about list building and, collecting emails from Etsy customers as they buy.
Yeah.
Well, imagine you're spending money on this email collection thing, and you're making all these sales, and you've got 100 or 500 emails after you've sold all of these things. And then you're like, hey, we have a new thing out. And they're all like, well, the first thing was crap. So
exactly.
I ain't coming back, unsubscribe or whatever. Yeah. You're not building your brand in a scalable way when you take this shortcut. So we've talked about this on the show. Highly recommend, particularly if you're using like a Guten or a Printify who outsource their production to different places. It's important that when my thing goes from this production facility and now it's, they're out of the sand large Bella Canvas 3001. And so it's going to this other facility. Well, is it going to be the same? Is it going to print the same? And so that's on you to figure that out and like make your decision. Am I going to stick with this provider because I want quality for all of my customers, because that's the best thing for my brand? So it's very crucial to get those samples before you get too far in. I mean, let's get started and let's go. But hey, ask. A lot of these companies will actually credit you and they'll give you free samples or discounted samples. And so take advantage of that and make sure that you're sending products that you'd be proud to offer to your friends and family.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we've touched on this before in the past as well. But when you're looking at the right providers, when you've gotten started, you're uploading designs and you're kind of searching out what kind of your primary print provider is going to be, ask them those questions, because just as much as they want to make sure you're the right fit for them, you want to make sure that they're the right fit for you. And so order those samples, get them in your hands, know what you're talking about. Because again, as we've said in the past, when a complaint happens, the customer's not going to care that Printful is the one that fulfilled that. You are the one that they're dealing with. And so your reputation's on the line. So know what you're talking about and the quality of what you're sending your customers, so that you can talk intelligently about it should you have to address issues. Number 4 would be picking the wrong products. You don't want to pick the wrong products. And what we mean by that is there's certain products that are they're proven sellers. Shirts, sell. Mugs, sell. That's Travis and I. We got started by selling mugs in the industry. That was our first kind of foray into the industry. Posters, wall art. Some things are vastly more proven. So you don't always have to necessarily go and reinvent the wheel. In fact, if you launch a store that's primarily focused on pop sockets and puzzles, is that the name of your store? Pop sockets and puzzles. And that's solely all you focus on. And without wanting to get into the t-shirts, because again, you might think it's too saturated, or everyone does that. Well, there's a reason that everyone does that. And if you're really proud of your puzzles and pop sockets, the way to sell those things is to get them into your door through selling the proven items. And then maybe they'll find that other thing that you're wanting to sell, and it too will get purchased. But there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, to me, in some of these instances. And some people maybe think that that's what they need to do, but that's not always the case.
Yeah. I also think, like, if you are, a lot of people listening to this are trying to really niche down and get into a specific niche. And so, this goes for those people as well, if let's say you're focusing on, you really into soccer and you love soccer just like me, and you're an Arsenal fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're top of the league, by the way. And let's say you're selling to soccer players because the game and what they like, and the phrases, you have a bunch of hilarious phrases and all this stuff, and then you're looking at all the products you can sell, and you're like, you know what, I think I'm going to sell a lampshade. Yeah, I mean, there's a disconnect, So, and you're like, this is awesome, and I heard that you're supposed to sell, high margin products, and this lamp is, I can get it for 30, but their retail is like 80, so I'd make so much money. I'm going to sell lamps to my soccer audience. There's a disconnect there. So, when you have that niche, figure out what that niche wants and sell that thing. And figure out more things that you can sell. Now you can slowly expand to those other things, and maybe eventually a soccer lamp would work. I don't know, but probably not at the beginning if your target demographic, needs shirts and hoodies and warm up, and drinkware. Yeah. And those types of things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. You need to know, again, it goes into researching that niche that you're getting into. And again, like you said, even if you're a fan of those things, I'm a fan of professional wrestling. I'm not necessarily going to go make, professional wrestling throw rugs or curtains or shower. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you have to know what the demographic, to your point, is into. So the next one, Travis, and this kind of, we're talking about research, minimal keyword research. Talk a little bit about what that mistake looks like and how they can kind of course correct. If that's something that they're doing and they're not researching, maybe they're just stuffing keywords, which again can be detrimental. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, it can go a couple of different ways. If you're more of a, going for a lot of different niches, you might be so generic that you're getting in your own way. Doing more keyword research will not only get you good keywords to find or to place into your listings to get better SEO, to get better placement in the search engines, not just Etsy or Amazon, but also even Google. Not only that, but it'll also open up your eyes to see all kinds of different products and different angles that you can take to create new and unique products that perhaps you hadn't thought of. So keyword research isn't just to get great SEO, although that's a very high priority when you're doing keyword research. It will also lead you down rabbit trails that you didn't know existed, that can lead you to, the pot at the end of the gold pot at the end of the rainbow, because you found this rabbit trail and you kept going down it and you found this really, really cool, group of keywords that you're like, oh man, there's not a lot of, there might not be a lot of search volume, but there's no competition, and so that's one, if you're kind of more of a generalist. At the same time, if you are doing that niche down type research, it can also help you from wasting a whole bunch of time, because if your niche is underwater basket weaving and you start searching it and you realize, oh my gosh, nobody's searching for this. Well, there might be a reason for that, and I don't know, maybe underwater basket weaving is like the next unicorn. I don't know. I don't want to if you're into that, hey, you do you. But my point is that keyword research can really save you from going down a path towards a niche that may not have the demand that you think it has because it's your favorite thing or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Number 6 in the list, disorganized file management, which I know Travis is always ecstatic to talk about. File management. But listen, the reality is, and this is one of the things that we learned when we had to rebuild Madeline's Etsy store, was file management, because the way we were doing it was not sustainable. And so we had to pivot. And I think she even called you and was like, hey, can you tell me how you do what you're doing, or kind of give me an example, or kind of point me in the right direction. And so it's just like, if you have thousands of designs, you have to have a good system as to where they're located, the naming them. Because trust me, if you have a poor file system, if you have a poor structure, it can lead to not only frustration when it comes to production and lead to mistakes and wrong prints because maybe something was named the same thing, or one had a number after it and the other one didn't, or something really, really vague. But if you're wanting to expand on other platforms as well, having that file system on a spreadsheet can translate easily to a flat file. You can easily upload all of your designs to another platform with a click of a button, and it will end up helping you make more money and expand in the long run. So it's something you certainly need.
Yeah, and it's not only yes, for channel expansion, it's awesome. It's amazing because you can immediately list all of your products. And then, in your case, your account gets shut down. You don't have access to any of the things that you had before.
Yep.
What do? Well, if you don't have that spreadsheet, you start over, friend.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. And you guys had to kind of start over. I mean, you had things, but they were not organized. They were disorganized. They were everywhere. Yeah, in different places. And you had to bring all of that together. But it also can, even if you're not planning on ever leaving Etsy or ever leaving Amazon or whatever, having this file structure will absolutely save you time. It will absolutely prevent mistakes from you sending the wrong product to the person. It'll save you time when you're like, hey, why did that order? This person ordered this one thing and they're saying we need to resend it. So what is it? I have to figure it out. You go to your spreadsheet, you have it right there. You have the print file, you have everything that you need. You have the SKU, all of that's there for you. It'll save you time. So many things to say about organization. Episode 157. Well, we have episode 10, I think. We've been talking about episode 10 forever. I don't remember if episode 157 is just a rebrand of episode 10 or if we actually did it again. But 157, organizing your SKUs and designs, or episode 10, one of those two, listen to them.
We'll get you exactly what you need.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It's kind of like my
it looks like
Bible.
Yeah, it looks like 157 was a rebroadcast.
Okay.
So it's probably a rebroadcast rather of episode 10. So either one, you're going to get what you need to go, and we go more in depth there when it comes to talking about organizing your files. And so you can have a better idea of what you need to do and how you can approach that. Mistake number 7 would be comparing yourself to other people's stores. Robin Johnson, who was on our show way back in episode 20, go listen to that interview. She's awesome. She said, don't compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. And I think we've talked about, and just throughout the show's history, about comparison being the thief of joy, right? You can easily find yourself feeling really positive. In fact, this happened to me a couple weeks ago, feeling really great about life, about where I was, how things were going, all this other stuff. And then you start comparing yourself to someone else who might be in your same age or in the business as long as you've been, and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden you lose that perspective, you lose that appreciation. And then you're just pissed off. You're just in a bad mood. Because you are now comparing yourself to somebody else. And everyone's got their own pace, their own journey. And there might be a lot of things that you're not seeing in this person's journey or their stories. It's again, the iceberg effect, right? You're seeing what's breaking through the water, not seeing what's led to that breaking through the water. And so you might be frustrated looking at that. And there's a weird tension, Travis, sometimes of having people who inspire you and people who you want to look up to, but then also not allowing yourself to compare yourself to those people, and then being upset and wanting to throw in the towel because, well, I'm not as good as they, or I'm not where they're at, or I don't have, that many listings like Travis has. So what's the point? And all of a sudden wanting to just kind of throw in the towel.
Yeah. I mean, you hear it all the time, it took me 20 years to become an overnight success,
Yeah, exactly.
There's always that you have to go through the chapter 1 through 19 to get to chapter 20, and while it's not unique to people who are just starting out either. I think
Right.
it's at every stage of the game.
Every stage.
We had Jay on last week and he's like living in Belize, and I'm like, oh man, what have I done with my life?
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm tempted to say.
Yeah.
He's been very successful. And you know what, though? I guarantee if we had Jay back on and we asked him the same question, he would point to someone else and say the same thing. You know what? There's only one LeBron James. And even he probably looks at Michael Jordan's career and says, oh man, I wish I would have XYZ.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, there's always going to be somebody that you can envy, but just avoid that like the freaking plague, because it will just sap all of the energy that you have for your moving forward momentum.
Yeah. It's the misnomer of, when I get here, then I'll be happy. When I have that, then I'll be good to go. When I make this much off of sales, then I'll be happy. And it's like a mirage. Like the closer you get to it, you'll realize that security, that happiness that you had invested in that thing or kind of banked on that being a thing isn't there. When you get there, there's going to be something else that you're going to perpetually have to be chasing that carrot to be happy. And that's what comparison can do to you. And to your point, Travis, you have to go through chapter 1 to 19 to get to 20. If you're reading Lord of the Rings and you read the first chapter and you understand that Frodo has to get the ring to Mordor, and then you skip all the way to the end of book 3 and read that he got the ring to Mordor. Sure, you got the highlight, but you're missing everything in between that built the character, that the journey that equipped him to be able to do that, his relationship with Sam. And so you might want to be able to skip to chapter 20, but everything in chapter 1 to 19 is the thing that helps you and equips you to be able to be in chapter 20 fully and be equipped with everything that you need to succeed in that chapter. If you skip the chapters, you're not going to have what you need and what you would have gained in the previous chapters to actually enjoy where you are. So just
otherwise
comparison sucks.
Yeah. Otherwise you're going to get eaten by a giant spider.
That's right. The more you know. I wish I should have had that. I should have had that queued up. Don't get eaten by giant spiders. So number 8, Travis, of the mistakes is not knowing your numbers. We've talked about this a lot as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Everything from knowing your numbers, and we've broken it down for you guys. A couple weeks ago we talked about just some eBay numbers and some profit margin and how you do all that. And then several weeks before that, we had podcast episode 141, 6 ways to stop leaking money in your print on demand business. We talk a lot about profit margins and how to measure it. And there's different ways. You have contribution margin, you have just kind of your gross profit margin. You can do it in a lot of different ways, through cost of goods and sold, and you can add labor into that. And there's a whole host of ways to do that. But at the very basic, you should know what your gross profit is on every product that you sell on every channel that you sell on. And if you're just selling on like Amazon Merch on Demand, well, you know what they're going to take, and then everything else is profit because it's just royalty. But you should also know if you're selling on Etsy and you're going through Printify, you should know what that profit margin is, what that percentage is, because you're going to invest in this business. You're going to spend money. And if the profit that you have from the products you're selling is not enough to support, your subscription to E-Rank, or, your subscription to Placeit or Bulk Mockup or your Photoshops, whatever the things are that you need, you're not going to be in business for very long. So check out episode 141, go back. Let's see, what was that one where we talked about in the print it was just 171. I talked about print on demand on eBay. And I will probably go back and kind of give you the results of that little test that we did. We actually did all right, but I do break down, like, this is how mug costs on Printify, and if I sell a mug, this is what eBay takes, and this is how you get your profit margin, and that whole deal, very important. Highly recommend you check that out. So that was episode 171, how to make more money in your print-on-demand business. And then episode 141 is 6 ways to stop leaking money in your print-on-demand business. But take a listen to those, and just make sure you're not, shooting yourself in the foot by not knowing your numbers.
Right. And number 9, last but certainly not least, the number 9, or the 9th mistake that you could be making in print on demand is that you're not subscribed to the Print on Demand cast. Well, I mean, what's up with that? I mean, you're here, right? And if you aren't subscribed, just push the button, just push the subscribe button, and then you're subscribed. And you can also check out all of our all the newsletters. Printondemandcast.com is where you can go to subscribe to that and get all the insight that you need. In fact, we're so, you should just go now. We'll wait. But not long, because dead air is not great for podcasts. And if you're not watching on video, it's not confusing. If you are watching on video, it's not any better. So that was just a joke. Seriously, go subscribe to the newsletter, printondemandcast.com. You can do that. And, we talked about this last week in full transparency, but the reason that Travis and I started this show was to help print-on-demand shop owners, whether it's drop shipping, whether it's production in-house, whatever stage that you're in. That's why this show exists, is for you. So, we want you to take advantage and subscribe and get all the content that you can, all those tips and tricks that you can from us, because that's why we're doing it. Because we want to see everybody succeed. So go subscribe to the Print on Demand cast.
That's a little bit of a shameless self-promotion, but hey, it's true. We'd love for you guys to jump on our email list. You get an annual design calendar that kind of help you organize evergreen and non-evergreen, actually event-based designs, so you can kind of design for the season and have a good idea. It's just all laid out for you. It's really easy. It's not a earth-shattering document that's going to change your business or anything, but it might help you, and it's just already laid out. So why reinvent the wheel? Just go give us your email address, and you'll get that, and it'll be a nice even trade. Plus, you'll get an amazing weekly dad joke along with
bonus one,
other fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I think that does it. That's all 9, 8, 9. If you add this shameless promotion,
we're going to call it 9
at the end of it, but we'll call it 9. It's going to be 9. The episode art's going to say 9. The title's going to say 9. It's going to be 9. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this show. We will be back next week as well. It is the holiday season. So, if we don't talk to you between now and next week, a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show, for listening. We hope you have a great time with family and you're taking time to kind of sit back, press pause, relax, and appreciate and love those around you and where you've come in the last year, because it might not feel like you've made ground, but I guarantee that if you stop and look backwards 12 months, you will have made some progression. There will have been growth, even if that growth is just getting off the couch and starting from the beginning. That is progress. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll be back next week with kind of an end of the year wrap episode, maybe some New Year's resolutions / goals, going over our Spotify Wrapped, which is super insightful and really crazy to look at those numbers. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. So join us next week, same print on demand time, same print on demand channel. So, and as we said previously, do us a favor and go subscribe to that newsletter. printondemandcast.com is where you go to do that. You get everything that Travis just mentioned, and you will be in the loop and in the know. And we would greatly appreciate that support as well. So with that being said, for Travis, I'm Josiah, and we'll see you next time right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See you guys. Oh, no.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See See you next time, for sure.